Hey there everybody, my name is Carmen De La Paz and welcome to my wood turning studio. I often get asked, well Carmen, what do you love to do most about everything that you do? And right now my answer is going to be, and actually it's been the same answer for a few years now, is wood turning. And they're like, what's wood turning? And I'm like, well, you know, it's where you spin wood at high revolutions on a lathe. Well, what's a lathe? So I decided to show you a lathe and tell you a little bit about wood turning. So this is a lathe. In this case, I've got the Nova Comet 2, which is considered a Midi lathe. You can find a mini lathe, a Midi, and a large or a full-size lathe, and that all corresponds to the length of wood that you can put on it, as well as the diameter, or how much space you have to actually spin the wood from the headstock. And for anybody who's considering wood turning, this is a great first lathe. Everybody says you start small and then after a few months of turning you're going to go to a bigger lathe. But this particular lathe I absolutely love for a couple of reasons. It requires very little space. It has its own stand, so I'm able to move it around, as well as there are some really cool accessories that you can add on and purchase separately and make this lathe a full package. One of the things I'm way excited about is that it actually comes with a grinder that you can attach to the headstock. But I'll get into that on another video. So what I've done is I've turned the lathe around. I'm going to walk you through it so you just get a basic understanding of it. But remember, no matter what lathe you pick, make sure you read the manufacturer's instructions. So here we go, the Nova Comet 2 Midi lathe.
The Comet 2 runs on 3/4 horsepower, which means that it's great for any household and it doesn't cost a lot of money to run. Every lathe is made up of the same components, the tailstock, then you've got the tool rest that sits in the banjo, and the headstock at the other end. All of these lay along the bed of the lathe to make it all one cohesive unit. The Comet 2 has an easy access panel where you'll find the belt on a pulley system to easily adjust from low, medium to high speed. The headstock has a 1-inch spindle thread with 8 threads per inch. It accepts a number 2 Morse taper spur drive that comes with the lathe, and it fits into a 3/8-inch bore hole. Sitting on the bed in the middle of the lathe, you're going to find the tool slide, and that holds the tool rest. Together they work to support the chisels while you're working with the wood on the lathe. They slide very easily across the lathe so that you can get it right where you need it, and the camshaft handle holds everything safely and firmly into place. At the tailstock, you're going to find a handle, which is actually a quill lock knob. This allows you to adjust the tail drive or live center and lock it into place while you're working the wood. The tailstock is really easily moved back and forth and has a tailstock lock arm so that you can put it securely into place. At the bottom right of the lathe, you're going to find the electronic variable speed control panel. There you can go from forward to reverse. You also have the control knob that correlates to your belt speed, as well as an easy access on-off button. Now I've got this lathe on a stand, but you can just as easily screw it onto a workbench or a tabletop. Remember what I said about not needing a lot of space for this lathe? And yet I'm able to make bowls, pens, utilitarian stuff, spindle work. The possibilities are really endless.
Now, wood turning is serious business, and a lathe should be respected just like any other dangerous power tool. So I wouldn't be doing wood turning or you any service if I didn't talk about safety.
I'm never going to stand behind a lathe unless I am well protected. A full face shield, a respiratory mask, and yes, safety glasses under the face shield. And if anything is louder than a speaking voice, I'm always going to have hearing protection on. As I mentioned before, and I can't say it enough, wood turning is a dangerous sport. So before you go trying to turn or you turn on a lathe, make sure you have somebody teach you how to mount the wood. There are a lot of accidents that happen because people don't know how to do this. So make sure that you use this as inspiration and find the right instruction. This video is not instructional. And away we go. Once you've got the wood spinning, what you're trying to do is make the piece perfectly round and find balance in the wood. Once you do that, then what you're trying to do is create a shape and a foot so that we can reverse it and put it on a chuck to continue to work the wood safely on the lathe. So now I've reversed the piece and I've actually mounted it onto a chuck, which is the big thing that you're seeing to the left. The chuck allows me to hold the wood from one end safely, meaning that when I then come back and start to core out the inside, I can pull away the tailstock and I can work the wood from the center in to create the bowl. In this case, this piece of wood is green, so I'm doing a rough turn, which means I'm going to leave it extra thick, and then I'm going to let it dry for a few months and come back and turn it again, and then make a perfectly beautiful bowl when it's all done. It's all part of the process, and based on the wood is what you're going to do with the work and the lathe.
And so there you have it, the lathe, and a little bit about wood turning. After the initial investment, wood turning is actually very cost effective because all you need to do is find wood and then spend the hours to actually master the tool. And remember, wood turning isn't about strength, it's about finesse. Master the tool, let the tool do the work. Happy turning. So those of you who are considering, I just have one last warning for you. Wood turning is addictive and you're gonna absolutely love it. Hit like, and if you wanna know how I got into wood turning and why I love it so much, watch the next video. Oh, and let me know, would you consider wood turning?